Hey guys, Pro Player 9217 here, and today I'm going to go ahead and do the CCM T2 review. And I apologize if there's any background noise. My neighbors want to be idiots and light fireworks off, and this is the only time I have to do the review. So I'll go ahead and just do the CCM T2 review real quick. I know people have been wanting it for a while, at least a few people have, so I'll go ahead and just start, and we'll just see what happens. So, pros is it's number one for me is it's lightweight. It's a lot lighter than most autocockers. CCM does a great job with trying to make it lightweight, and it's comfortable. It's not it's not unbearable where you're walking around and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so heavy. Like some autocockers, I know, like my buddy had an Outcast, and putting a 6845 in that thing, and even like a Velocity, man, it's heavy. This, I throw my 6845 on there, and then a pocket hopper, and I have no problem walking around with it for a couple hours. So it's pretty lightweight. I don't know exact weight, but it's pretty lightweight. Next, it has a light and very smooth pump stroke. It's not as smooth as like the S6 because of the dual rods, but it's still pretty smooth and light for an autococker. Like some of the other pump kits, like the cheap WGP ones, they're not as good because the springs are kind of cheap, and it's just not good at all. But it's definitely very lightweight and nice pump stroke. It's consistent. That's if you have a good paint to bore match, and if you're using good fresh paint and you keep your gun clean. If on a good day when it's not too humid and I got good paint like Marbleizer, and I've got a perfect like paint to bore match, I can shoot ±1 over the chrono. And it's happened a few times lately, since it's been so humid here in Ohio, and the paint hasn't been that great. It's been like ±5, but usually I can get ±1 or 2, and that's pretty consistent, I think. Let's see what's next. My notes are on my iPhone. It's user friendly. You can't really screw it up. It's basically all you have to do right out of the factory is I think they shoot at like 300 right out of the factory, and mine shot at like 310 or something like that. But you just basically set the velocity through the IVG and just leave it. And I've chronoed mine once this year, and I shoot a couple balls over the chronograph every time I go, and it stayed the same except for when I took apart my reg and cleaned it. Then I had to redo it. So I guess I've chronoed it twice this year. But yeah, if you just get it straight from the factory, just throw a good paint to bore match, a barrel, throw a good sizer on there, a good paint to bore match, and I can make a video sometime on how to get a good paint to bore match. Most people know how to do it, but if you're new to pump or even paintball, then you won't know how to do it. Anyway, just set your velocity through the IVG. Set it at 300 or 285, whatever your field is, and you'll be good to go. Let's see. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention is you don't really have to sweet spot it right out of the factory. Rod does a really good job of setting the regs, and I think he sets them to 350 psi out of the factory. I know that a lot of people that I've talked to that own CCMs, they like to mess with their pressure in their reg, but honestly, I've left mine at 350 since I had it, or since I got it, and it shoots great. But some people recommend 315, some people say 325. Just you can mess with your pressure if you have a pressure tester and get it to what you feel comfortable. But I got it set at 350, and I think it works great. Let's see, next, it's very reliable. It's one of those guns that you can set the velocity at the beginning of the year, throw it in your gear bag, and if you have a pot of paint left, you can grab it out of your bag, and it's going to shoot as soon as you pull it out. There's been multiple times this year where I've gone with my my Electro, my G4, or an Ego, and it's gone down because of a stupid problem, and I just grab my T2, and it shoots great, and it's good to go. It's one of those guns I know that if one of my buddies' guns go down or my gun goes down, I can pull it out and it's going to shoot, and it's going to work good. Let's see, stock parts and upgrades. The one thing I see a lot on PB Nation and on Empire Brown is what upgrades are there for the CCMs. The T2, I know you can get a hush bolt for it. I don't really know the benefits from it, and I tell this to people all the time, is if the stock bolt or really anything on the gun needed to be better, CCM would make it better. I've heard the hush bolt makes it quieter and gives it some more velocity, but for me the stock bolt works just fine. I am gonna buy a hush bolt soon. They're only 25 bucks in A&S gear, and I'll you know, just mess around with it, see if it gives it any benefits. But like I said, if it needed to be better, then CCM would do it. You can upgrade ASAs, regs, barrels, all kinds of stuff like that. And but honestly, everything's stock on mine, except I do prefer the Freak barrel over the CCM barrel, just because of control bore size. This has a longer control bore, and I feel like this is quite of a quieter barrel. There's the what's the word I'm looking for? Man, I just lost it. Whatever these holes are for, porting. Thank you, porting. Thanks, Brian. Has a little bit more porting than the CCM barrel. I think I have the All-American front, but to me it just shoots better with a Freak, and I like the Freak inserts. I think they're a little cheaper than the CCM sizers, but I would recommend getting the full barrel kit. I was an idiot when I bought mine and I didn't get a full barrel kit with mine. I'd recommend getting the CCM barrel kit because they do work really good. I just prefer the Freak barrel over the stock barrel. But it's all, it's all personal preference. Some people like, carbon fiber barrels. Some people like CP barrels. It's just, up to your own personal preference. Let's see. Options from the factory. When you order your CCM, it's just not the T2, but we'll go ahead and just talk about the T2 since that's what we're reviewing. Let's see if we're still recording here, and we are. The options from the factory, there's actually a lot of options you can choose from at the factory. Your colors, like this is, dust brown, polished purple, and you can get pretty much any color you can imagine. You can mix it up. You can do what they like to call a Frankenstein gun. You could do like, a purple body, a green barrel, black barrel back, and just do whatever colors you want. If you want it, they probably have it. And that's what I really like about CCM is, people are like, oh, the MVP is cool, and then the Empire Sniper is cool, but it's like, yeah, but with CCM, it's so like customizable to whatever you want that it's just an all around great customizable gun. And then of course your colors, and then your grip frames. There's 3 different grip frames that you can choose from. There's the 86s, which was what I got, that feels the most comfortable to me. There's the 45 thick, and then the normal 45. It's 45 thin, I think, and then the 45, just normal 45. Sorry about that. I like the 86 the best, but some people prefer the 45s, but 86 is my preference. And then there's the pump kits. They just actually released a 3rd pump kit for the T2. This is the Easy Grip, which is I like it the best. There's the Easy T Grip, which it goes down a little farther, and I think it's a different shape. And then there's the quad rod, which it's got a 4th. I think it's got a 4th rod, and it makes it like not as wobbly. Which this isn't wobbly, but the quad rod is supposed to help with the binding, which I'll go into more detail in a second about that. But it's supposed to help, and I guess it's supposed to be really, really super smooth. So you can choose between that, and then of course you can choose between fittings. You can get just these cheapo stock just crappy fittings. Or you can get the CCM ones, which the CCM ones you can get whatever color you want. And that's what I should have done, but of course I was stupid last year and didn't completely customize mine how I wanted it, because I wanted to go cheap. And then of course you can choose your grip panels too, which that's all, the fitting and the panel is going to be extra, but it's totally worth it. I'm going to upgrade my fittings and my panels soon, just because I love my T2 and I want to make it look as good as possible. Let's see, next. Oh yeah, CCM customer service. In my opinion, I think CCM has the best customer service, hands down, in the paintball industry. If you write Mel, she will write back within, sometimes it's been like 10 minutes. It's been up to 24 hours if I write her on like a Sunday or a Saturday. Heck, she's even wrote me back on a Saturday a few times. And if you call them up, they'll usually answer right away, and they're really nice and friendly, and they're just all around great people. Am I still recording? Yep. I don't want to ramble on for 10 minutes and find out that it's not recording, kind of like when you're talking on the phone and the person hangs up, you don't realize it. That's pretty much the pros. Like I said, it's a great gun all around, but here's a couple of the pros, and or the cons, sorry. They're not really, horrible cons, but there's stuff that needs to be said, so that way you know what to look for when you get a T2. The lower tube does get dirty really easily because of the slot right there. I don't know if you can see that because I can't see where I'm pointing the camera, but it can get dirty really easily. But that can be fixed with what's called a slot blocker, and I think you can get those from like J. Kurt for like 30 bucks or something like that. And I haven't done one to mine just because I haven't had the extra money to do it. But I am going to get a slot blocker soon because the lower tube is actually really kind of picky when it gets dirty. I noticed that last week or 2 weeks ago, I was wondering why my gun was shooting like garbage, and it's like shooting like plus minus like 30. I was like, what is going on? This never happens. And I took my T2 completely apart and cleaned out the lowers. And I've heard from a bunch of different people that you're supposed to keep your lowers as dry as possible. Well, I wiped down everything completely, you know, just the spring, the hammer, the IVG lug, all that stuff, and cleaned it. And it shot plus minus 5 yesterday, and it was a little humid yesterday and hot, so the paint wasn't as round as I'd like it to be, but it was still shooting really good. So just make sure I would probably clean out your lower tubes probably once every 2 to 3 cases, or if not every time. If you play a lot like I do, I play every weekend, and I'm really aggressive, so I get it muddy a lot and it gets paint down in there. I would like to clean it after every time, but it's not hard, it's just time consuming. I'm still recording, but look, keep your lowers clean and it'll shoot great. Let's see. Next, the feed net comes loose. I noticed yesterday that if you have a heavier hopper on there, like I put my what did I put on there? My gravity hopper, and within the first game it got really loose. That can be fixed with Loctite. I'm not really a big fan of Loctite just because I'm just not a big fan of it. But I did Loctite my screws and tighten them down, and it's good now. But it does come loose, so you just gotta watch that. And also the let's see what else. The back block screws do come loose too, but that can be fixed with those right there, the pump rod or back block screws, whatever you want to call them. They come loose once in a while, and so you don't want to crank them down too hard because then it will start to bind, but you don't want to keep them too loose either. But if you get them to where they're perfect, then just Loctite them in with blue Loctite, and then you should be good to go, and they shouldn't come out. Because I lost a screw one time because I didn't pay attention, and it came out, so I had to order a new one. And then the IVG cover has gotten loose one time. I noticed that at a big game it fell off, and I didn't understand why. I think it's just because I lost the O-ring on it, or it fell off or something, but I had to order a new one, which wasn't a big deal, but you just gotta watch that. That's not anything major. That's pretty much user error, actually. I should have paid attention to that. The pump rods need to be timed just right, otherwise they will bind. You don't want to crank down the back block screws too hard, and you also don't want to keep them too loose. I usually just like to tighten them just so they're tight, so they don't fall out. I don't like to Loctite mine just because I'm not, like I said, I'm not really a big fan of Loctite. I just tighten them just right. That way it's not too tight, because if you tighten them too tight, then it will bind. And you don't want to tighten down your auto trigger rod, your auto trigger arm down too tight, because that will make the pump arms bind as well. So just make sure you don't tighten down the back block screws too hard or keep them too loose, and you'll be good to go. Let's see, next is the ASA knob does like to wiggle out. I don't know if it's like that for all CCMs, but mine, if I am just sitting here just dry firing or whatever, the ASA knob does come loose. So just be careful of that, because I lost my ASA knob the first week I had my T2, and I ended up finding it actually. But you just gotta be careful of that. That's probably just user error. That's pretty much all of the cons. A couple side notes is if you keep the gun clean and swap out the barrel often and use fresh round paint, and then have a good paint to bore match, your gun will shoot amazing. I get some of the most bullcrap but awesome kills all the time. Like we have this map or field, it's called Dark Forest. It's got like these small little bunkers, and the windows are probably about like 1 foot by 1 foot, if that. I've gotten so many mask shots from 20, 30, 40 yards away with this gun. It's amazing. I get the most bullcrap kills, you know, long balls, stuff like that with this gun. It's super accurate. I use my Freak with the good, the Marbleizer here in Ohio is bored at like 684, 685, and then I keep my barrel clean. I swab it out before every game. And I just, you know, keep my gun clean. It shoots so accurate and straight, and any gun will shoot that way as well. Not pumps. If you keep your barrel clean and have good paint to bore match, your gun will shoot super accurate. If you're using crappy, dimply, old, oily paint like what I used to use, it's called Rec Elite, that stuff sucked. And of course, I use my 679 sizer all the time, and it shot like garbage. I'm like, what the heck? And then I started using good, fresh paint and using a good paint to bore match, and it shot amazing. And then, like I said, swab out your barrel before and during every game, and it'll shoot great. The price, it is kind of pricey. I believe all CCMs except for the J12 are starting around $600, and I believe the barrel kit's $90, but it's totally worth it. And then of course your fittings and panels. If you don't get black panels and you don't get the colored the CCM fittings, it's free. But if you get the CCM fittings or any other color of panels, they charge you extra. But I think the all CCMs start at $600 now, except for the J12, and then it goes from there on whatever you want. I think one color is like $600, and then it's like $25 more for two colors, and which is still pretty reasonable for a customizable gun. Me personally, I don't have a problem paying that much because I love pump. Some people will be like, well, why the heck do you need to buy a pump for $700 or whatever? It's like, well, you know, it's personally customizable to what you want, and CCM has great customer service, and the guns shoot amazing, and that's one reason why I love CCM. They just shoot so good. I will make a video on how I set up my T2 and what I use, like as far as insert, barrel, you know, tank hopper, settings, all that kind of pressure, all kinds of stuff, and paint I use. I'll just do a video on that so you can try to get a good idea of how you should set up your T2. You know, it's all different. Like I said, you can use whatever barrel you want, but what's most important is getting a good paint to bore match and keeping your gun clean. But I will do a video on that, and I'll also do a video on how to time the auto trigger, because it is difficult for newer pump players and people who don't really know a whole lot about autocockers. But I will do a video on that. But that pretty much wraps up the review. I don't think I forgot anything. If I did, I'll just annotate it or put it in the description. But if you're in the market for a pump, I highly recommend any CCM. But you know, I recommend the T2. Really, any CCM is great. But I love my T2, and I probably won't ever sell this gun. It just shoots so good, and it's my baby. I've probably put 20 to 30 cases through it in the last year, and it just shoots. And I know it's hard to believe, but I play almost every weekend and go through 3 to 4 bags a weekend shooting this, and I play all day long, and it's just a beautiful gun. And so yes, if you're in the market for one, check out CCM. Pay the price for it. It's totally worth it, and you'll be happy with your purchase. So that wraps up the review. If you guys have any questions, just feel free to ask in the comment section, or send me a PM or whatever, or add me on Twitter. I'll post my Twitter link on there. And yeah, that wraps it up, and thanks for watching, guys.